Okay, hello everybody, welcome to TìandTarot, or welcome back to TìandTarot if you've been here before. Today's reading is going to be kind of a different one, so we're going to be looking at everything about your future home. So that will be the energy of your house, how it makes you feel, how it makes other people feel when they come into it, what type of house it is, so a flat, an apartment, a house, a private property, land attached, those sorts of things. Whether you have a garden, balcony, all that stuff. So we're going to be seeing what will be your future forever home and what that will look like. We'll also be looking at whether or not you'll be sharing this house with anybody, and if so, how many people and who are they to you. We'll also be seeing if it's quite a social house, so if you host a lot or have a lot of guests, what you'll be doing with them, or if not, why is that? So we'll be looking into all that stuff. We'll also be figuring out when this house is actually coming in for you in your lifetime and how many homes you're going to have or places that you live sort of in between that point as well. So, today is a pick-a-pile reading. If you don't know how pick-a-pile readings work, I'll explain that to you now. So you just pick the pile you feel most intuitively drawn to, either because of the energy of the pile, the object or crystal on top, or maybe because the number of the pile has some relevance to you, or the numbers in the timestamps below, or based on your zodiac sign, which I'll include next to your pile down below in the description box. For our cards today, we have some sort of household items and objects to sort of fit the theme today, and then we've also got a card for you as well. So for pile 1, we have cacti, the only pricks worth dealing with, and a jar of matches. For pile 2, we have to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. And we also have this little ceramic ghost vase with some dried flowers. For pile 3, we have my soul speaks in flowers, and we have a La Luna matchbox with matches as well. We have grow your own way, and we also have a sentimental value item. So this one's actually Kit's kitten paw print that she took organically when I was using some clay. She stepped in it, so I decided to cut it out and put a little hole in there so that it could be like a Christmas tree decoration. So yeah, this Kit's baby footprint. Once you have selected your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye! Hello my pile ones, so you have cacti, the only pricks worth dealing with, and you also have the matches. So let's put your card here, along with the matches. So the thing is, straight away from that kind of energy, I'm kind of getting the feeling that you may have been through a lot of like kind of turmoil in your life, a lot of people betraying you or treating you poorly, especially in a domestic setting, so especially in every home that you've sort of lived in. It could have been bad roommates, bad siblings, bad parents or guardians, but either way there might be a lot of like trauma and turmoil there. If I've got that wrong, apologies, feel free to check out another pile, but I feel like for you, having a home would kind of be freedom from that, and it will be leaving that in the past. So for you, having this home is like escaping in a sense, and you're kind of over people because you're done with being treated that way, and you feel like removing yourself from people is one of the best ways forward for you in terms of keeping your peace, your privacy, your protection. And that's fair dues. If that's your choice, go for it. If that's the best choice for you, then that is the best choice for you. Only you know that. But I do feel like the fact that it says the only pricks worth dealing with makes me feel like you can still differentiate between good and bad people, and you're still happy to have good company, if that makes sense. So I'd say there's an open question mark so far about whether or not you would host and share your house, but we will check it out with the tarot cards now. Okay, so just want to get a few of these for you. What is pile 1's home going to look like? What energy will it have? Okay, so these two came out for what your house is going to look like and the energy. So we have the Page of Pentacles, and we also have the Seven of Pentacles. So you've worked really hard for this house, so in the future when this house comes to you, you've worked very hard for it, and it shows because you decorate it very lavishly. It has everything you could want and need in it. So let's say like basic homes, you know, you have a kitchen, a bathroom, sitting room, all those things, but then you'll also have these extra additions that make it a space that you can hang out in a lot. So like, you know, a library bookshelf, or like, and like a little chair with it so you can have an area to read, or you've got like a pool table, or like you know, a kind of games area, like a D&D games area, something like that. You have these additional features that kind of make it so that you don't necessarily need to go out to do anything. Like if you're ever bored or there's something you want to do, you can usually just do it at home because you've made your house very accommodating for all types of like desires. And I would say that you do it up in quite a bougie way, but not necessarily like too in your face. But it's more bougie to you in terms of like it's got everything you value in it. But I would also say this is a very valuable house or home. You're gonna have lots in it, and you're gonna spend a lot of money investing into this. Like I'm doing it up in the sort of decor and stuff because you want it to feel like a really lovely space, safe space for you to go to whenever you need it. So straight away I would say that. In terms of the energy though, it might feel a little bit cold, especially if it's a big, big house. If you're spending a lot of money trying to get like the biggest, best, most accommodating house, then it might have a lot of space in it that's kind of might feel isolating. Like there's, you know, like if you're in a cozy sitting room and it's small and there's only a two-seater sofa and then like a TV, but that creates a nice cozy vibe because just adding a couple lamps makes it really cozy and warm. Whereas for you, if there's a big space, you've got to have so many lamps and so many pieces of furniture and all these other things to even try and make it cozy. So I think what you might do or want to do in that situation is probably put like really big rugs underneath like a sofa or your bed to try to like segment certain spaces so that it feels slightly more cozy and boxed in, rather than just having this expansive floor like everywhere with nothing kind of breaking it up. That also might be why you try and fill up your house as well. So how will it make you feel? So we did mention the cold element. The Chariot. I think this house, you're going to feel really accomplished. I think when you are, even though it can be quite cold, quite expansive, obviously you can find ways to make it cozy. Maybe there's like a drink you love to have, like a warm latte or something, and you buy like a special machine that just makes the best lattes, and whenever you're feeling a little bit like low or down, you just go and get that drink and it makes you feel cozy and warm again. But I think when you look around at this space at all you've accomplished, you feel really proud because it's something you really wanted to kind of, you know, feel safe, feel comfortable, and you provided that for yourself. Like you provided that safe, comfortable space, and so it's going to make you feel really, really positive about it and like you've done the most. But I also think you're someone who continues to achieve, kind of doesn't know when to stop. Not that that's a bad thing, but I feel like you would be somebody who is like, yeah, I've achieved a lot here. I've finally got a swimming pool or like an indoor spa or something. But then you're like, but I also want this. And then you start working really hard because you want like a marble table or something. Like you never quit basically. There's always something you want, and it's not that you're not satisfied. It's just that you're really proud of it. You love that feeling, and so you keep chasing that feeling by sort of spending and being quite materialistic with your home as well. So you're always on the move, you're always on the go with that. But ultimately, I do think you love it. You love what you've accomplished, but maybe there might come a point where you want to like reflect and think about, yeah, you've achieved this amazing thing, but are you 100% happy with it? And do you want to be maybe more minimalistic? You might not want to be. I'm just saying you might hit a reflection point because this person, both these people kind of look like they're reflecting as well. And here, like, there's so much more you could achieve. I feel like you will keep chasing that as well. Like the sky's the limit. Okay. So we have the Four of Cups here. This house makes you feel like you've been given a gift. Like it makes you feel like you were kind of looking at what you had, at all of your resources, and being like, is this it? Like, is this my lot in life? Should I just make peace with this? And then all of a sudden you're given this thing out of nowhere, and it just feels like a blessing. It feels so relieving to you. I think that's the energy of your house. This is a safe haven house. That's your energy that you kind of put into the house. That's the energy you create. This is a safe space for you, and maybe even for others, depending on whether or not you kind of allow people into your space. But I do think it makes you feel very comfortable and protected. Okay. Ooh. So we have the Six of Swords here. Yeah, I'm definitely, especially with the ocean there, I'm definitely getting expansive as an energy. Like, not as an energy of your house, but expansive when I think about what your house will look like. I don't know if that necessarily means big. I just think there's a lot of space in the rooms. But that doesn't mean it's super big and bougie. And you have the Seven of Swords as well. Yeah, you're hoarding up all your resources. I feel like your house might be... It's not big like... Okay, so obviously, like, you can have a house, and obviously houses are large anyway. They're large in general. But then you can have those, like, really big, bougie, almost mansion-esque houses. You don't have one of those, but I do think you have a house, like a property on the ground, isolated, so it's fully detached. It's not semi-detached. It's within its own right. It's its own thing, and there's a bit of land around it. But it's not like the largest. It will be like a 2-bed, maybe a 3-bed max. And that gives you just enough rooms to add additional features to your house that maybe are unusual. So obviously bedroom, kitchen, sitting room, toilet, bathroom. But you then have 1 or 2 spare bedrooms that you can turn into like those game rooms, or a reading room. Like, you can turn it into something you want, like a gym or an office. So you, in a sense, it's very lavish, especially to you, for somebody who always craved that and that independence and that isolation. In a sense, that makes you feel like it's very, very valuable. But maybe to other people, to them it might just be a house to them, but to you it means so much more, and so you're very protective over it and you guard it a lot. But I definitely feel like it's a house with some space around it, like some, like a lawn and like a garden, but not too big, just enough. And I feel like if anyone ever tries to like walk on your lawn or just cross it a little bit, you're like, this is my space. Like, I feel like you try and get like a fence or a gate or something just to kind of mark it off, because you don't want anyone ruining your petunias when you plant them, So I feel like you're like very protective over it. And once you go there, there's no going back. I feel like you might have in the past lived with others, as I said, obviously siblings, parents, maybe roommates, and you're like, there's no way I'm going back to that. There's no way. Like, once you've had this, you love it so much, as you knew you always would, that you just don't go back. You're very reluctant to share your space. I think if you ever did find someone that you were considering sharing your space with, it would be a really big deal and a big thing for you to consider, because you would be risking, in your mind, that safety, security, that protection. So you have the High Priestess as well. You're really, really smart about your assets and making sure you're protected. So if you do share your space with someone, and maybe you want to like marry people in the future, you might get like a prenup and really think about these things. Make sure your home's in your name and you don't share it in any kind of way. You make sure it's not a shared asset somehow through a prenup, because I think you're very intelligent about the fact that obviously sharing that space with someone legally can be a big risk to you, because they could change their mind. They might love you now and treat you very nicely and want to share their space with you now, but maybe in the divorce they might want everything. So it's like, you really, really are quite intelligent, and you consider these things and all of these risks. And that doesn't mean you're going to accuse your partners in the future of like doing those things, because why would you? But it's just good to be safe. It's better to be safe than sorry. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So I feel like you'll make sure you really think about all your options available to you. And I think if you do ever move in with someone in the future, you might have like separate bedrooms, because you really love your peace, you love your space and privacy. So even though you might love someone so much you decide very generously to share your space with them, you might also be like, but since those are becoming community spaces, I would still like one space that's mine, which is very generous in my opinion. But anyway, I think if you do share this space with anyone, it will just be a partner. I'm not seeing like any sort of pet imagery, so I don't feel like you will have pets either. I think you might be worried pets will kind of ruin the vibe or the ambiance. So you might be like a houseplant person and maybe invite a partner in, but I don't know about having babies or pets. It might be something you compromise on in the future, but for now you might not. Okay, speak of pets, I've pulled out the full card, so you might have a pet. So maybe down the line, because this, obviously it's an adventure, this card, so along the way somewhere you might have a pet that you do decide to bring into it, but I think it would be somewhere quite down the line once you feel a little bit more secure that your stuff isn't going to get ruined, and it would be a type of pet that can't really ruin your furniture, like something like a turtle or something, where you just feed it lettuce all day, like, I know turtles need more than that, guys, but I don't feel like it's going to be a pet that can necessarily like ruin your house, or if it is, you train it very, very well straight away from the beginning so that it doesn't. It might be your partner even that really wants a pet and then you kind of relent. Okay, so we have the Tower card here. When I was sort of wondering about hosting, I think just because you have decided to separate yourself from chaos doesn't mean chaos has decided to separate itself from you. So the people you are distancing yourself from might come out of the woodwork anytime there is like a socially required event like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, like all those sorts of things. Although really you should only celebrate those if you're religious, but whatever. Whenever those sort of things turn up, I think these people that have messed with you in the past think this is a great opportunity for them to kind of guilt trip you into letting them come and visit, see your home, and kind of ruin your peace. That's their true kind of purpose, is to come in and ruin it. And you might genuinely feel like you're wrong for denying them that, and so you might actually host some of those events. But eventually I think you will realise maybe it's best not to do that if they prove that they cannot be trusted to treat you nicely in your own home. But I think as well, if you have in-laws and things like that, you might host certain events, but I don't think you will host like on the regular, if that makes sense. Especially because we've got the Hermit here as well, so I do think you'll spend a lot of time alone in your home, more so than with others. I don't think you enjoy being a host, but I think sometimes you feel maybe obligated to. Although you never should, but if that's how people make you feel, then it's understandable that that can really like impact you emotionally. So I kind of want to know when this is coming in for you and how many places you might live in before you actually get to this point. The Five of Wands, okay. So I think you will probably live in shared accommodation, like with roommates and things like that, before you actually get to this point in your life. I think there will be a lot of arguments and strife, but you'll find your like solid friends through that as well, the friends that have your back in those situations, but you'll also find people that are like just so annoying to live with and you're like just done, and it's really motivating you to go after this. So I do think that will probably continue maybe for the next 5 years before you're actually able to kind of save enough for like a deposit or a down payment for your home. But then we also have the Wheel of Fortune, so it can also just kind of be up to fate when this comes in, so that can change. So that could mean sooner rather than later, or it can mean later rather than sooner, but I always view this as more of a positive card, so I would say sooner rather than later. But it basically, the wheels of fate can change, you know what I mean, and you can't really stop it, so it can really depend, basically. You may either have 5 years of these other living situations before you get there, or you might have 5 different living situations before you get there as well. Okay, so just wanted to get any more info about this house. I've ruined all the cards. So we have the Badger and Ginkgo healing wounds. Yeah, I did say this is your safe haven. So this house is very healing to you. It kind of gives you the peace and the space you needed in order to heal from everything. It's so hard to heal when you're still in those situations, still dealing with those people. So even if you have the right mindset and you're like, I'd really like to heal from this, it can be really hard until you kind of have your space from them. So I think this home will be a healing space for you. So the lizard and pitcher plant, stagnation. Yeah, I definitely feel like you're going to be mostly living on your own. As I said, you might allow a partner in, but you might come up with a living situation that works for the both of you as well. And I think as well, you do kind of feel like you're not moving at the moment. And I totally get that. It might feel that way. Like it might feel like progress isn't happening, or it's really hard to know how to do this. But as I said, with the Wheel of Fortune, it is just gonna roll on for you. You know, life is gonna roll on, and then it will just kind of happen. Like it will take effort in terms of like saving and kind of chasing after that goal, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna come in for you. So but I can see why you might feel that despair, especially in, you know, while you're still in the more difficult living situations. And then you also have the Fox and Ivy with adaptability. So even though it can be hard right now, I do think these cards are sort of saying you are the type of person who you can sort of shapeshift in a sense. You can make it work for you while you don't have it. And that's something that's going to keep you going, keep you motivated, is that energy that you have and just kind of persevering despite the odds. I also think this is also a reference to the fact that your house is ever changing because you're always deciding to revamp it and you're never giving up on like your goals in that sense. Like you always find ways to revamp it right when you're finished. You're like, actually, I want yellow walls or something. Yeah, plan your own adventures, and then you have good friends warm the soul. So as I said here as well, I feel like within these living situations you have, to you they might feel like, oh god, I can't wait till I just have my own home, that's all I want. But when we have good friends warm the soul, you might never have met these good friends that become a solid part of your life had you not had all these living situations in between. So that's kind of essential in giving you the social group you need right before you're about to kind of put yourself in this situation where you spend a lot of time with yourself, because then that will really help to kind of pull you out when you're feeling like where you're kind of investing way too much time being alone, being a bit of a hermit. They can kind of pull you back from that and invite you out places and things like that, and you wouldn't have met them had you not had all these living situations beforehand. You've also had adventure twice. So I feel like this is definitely inspiring you to take action and go after the things you want and try to enjoy your life day by day, even though it can feel like, no, I'm just not going to enjoy it until I sit here and get my future house. Like, this is telling you try and enjoy every moment so that you're in a better place when you do get there, and you feel much more happy and positive. And then also it's sort of saying you kind of need to take the fate of your future into your own hands. To get the wheel turning, you have to do an action. So that could be going after a job with higher pay so that you could, save and things like that. And then we also had gratitude begins with self-talk. So yeah, you really should big yourself up, really make sure, check in with yourself, make sure you're feeling okay, keeping a journal, talking to friends, talking to therapists, if that's within your means, to basically make sure that emotionally you're doing well. And that way you'll be in the best place possible when you finally do receive this gift. I also feel like for some of you, you might get this through inheritance as well. Okay, so that was your reading part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading or tarot spooky related video on TìandTarot. Bye! Hello, pile 2, welcome to your reading. So I did a boo-boo, okay? I made a mistake. We all make mistakes, you're gonna have to forgive me. Okay, we listen and we don't judge. But I forgot that you picked the ghost with the flowers, so I've given you the matches. Very sorry about that, big apologies, but just pretend like the ghost is there, and I said the ghost the whole time, and that it's not the matches that are there. Okay, thank you, bye. Okay, hello pile 2, so you chose to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. So I can already tell you've got a really great attitude when it comes to kind of going after what you want. I do also feel like you're a bit of a manifester, and you do put your faith into the universe to kind of help you and bring your dreams and wishes forward. But I can also tell that you've just got a really positive attitude in terms of you are quite proactive, putting the effort in daily to try and achieve your goal, if you have a goal in mind when it comes to your home. So let's check out your tarot cards first to kind of get these answers. Okay, so, we have the Three of Wands, and we also have the Five of Wands. I think your future house will make you feel really, really inspired, really creative. It will also feel like, I think a bit of both. I think it will feel like a really nice haven in a sense. It's quite similar to Pile 1, but I also think when people do come to your house, they might piss you off. Or there might be arguments, or I'm getting quite a playful energy of, like, you know, when people play charades and then it's like they're like trying their hardest to tell you the answer, and then the time runs out and they're like, oh my god, you idiot, it was this. Like, it's like playful arguments as well is kind of something I'm getting. So maybe you host a lot of game nights for friends. But then I also feel like this space inspires you. So it could be that you're quite a creative person and maybe you give yourself a work office space in your home to sort of get on with those creative things. So it could be like maybe you make stained glass like ornaments, and you give yourself like a little workstation, or maybe you make jewelry or art prints or something like that. But it definitely inspires you. But I do think like your house is a doer-upper, that is like a project, and there will be unfinished bits and finished bits while you live there, and you're kind of working on it as you're living there. You also have the Six of Cups, which is so cute. You might potentially, just as a side message, inherit your home, and it's your family home. And so you might be doing it up because it's quite outdated and a little bit like, you know, just a little bit. The furniture's out of date. Maybe it's a bit, you know, maybe the wallpaper's a bit yellow or gaudy, and you're like, okay, let me clean some of this up. So I feel like that as well. I also feel like your home could definitely be a family home, like in terms of, I feel like you might have a partner, you might have children. Like, I definitely feel like it will become a family home down the line, or you might move into it once you've even started your family. So you might have your partner and your children before then, before you actually get there, and you're getting that home and making that home to sort of have a family home and provide for them in that sense. So that creative energy that I'm picking up on might also be the fact that you are doing it up. So it could be that you are getting creative in terms of trying to make sure you do up the home in a really nice way for your family, but trying to do it also in like a bit of a financially savvy way as well. Like maybe getting the floorboards secondhand, or, you know, getting a discount on the wallpaper, like things like that, or upcycling furniture and things so that you can just paint it to be like what you want it to be and then pop it in and it's, you know, a cheaper option. So I do feel like there's a lot of that. I do also feel like your home will be a very grounded space. So that's kind of, I think it's because obviously the energy your house has is the energy you create. So because you've got this lovely positive attitude and energy, I think your home might become a space where like people just end up being more present in the moment, more grounded. So obviously these kids are like immersing themselves in these flowers and planting them in cups, planting what they have. I feel like you might grow your own vegetables in your garden or something like that. So I'm definitely seeing a garden for you. Or like a rooftop where you kind of have plant pots to, or a greenhouse to grow these things. But you might grow your own veg and kind of make home cooked meals from that, just to save a bit of money, and have something to do that's quite grounding and brings you back down to earth, and also, you know, pulls your family away from their tablets, their iPads, their phones, things like that, and gives them, like, especially if you have children down the line or want to, it will give them a future where they're not like iPad babies, where they're actually enjoying life how it used to kind of be before phones. And that doesn't mean they won't use a phone or iPads, it's just that most of their time, when the option is presented to them, they would rather actually be outside, you know, playing in the grass. So I've seen a lot of that as well. And with the chaos, now that we've got the children there, I think it's making more sense as well. Your house might be kind of noisy. you know, kids trying to draw on the walls and shit, like, kind of like that, or just their scream laughing as they run around and play, like, that's also the energy I'm kind of getting, like, a lot of chaos, a lot of noise, but not in a bad way. I also think you're someone who's like, this is your house, feel comfortable in it. So, you know, if people want to take their shoes off, take their shoes off, you know, if you want to, you know, if anyone comes over and they're like, can I have a place to stay tonight? You would give them a pair of pajamas and, you know, some blankets and put them up on the sofa or something. Like, you would definitely be that kind of person. But I think as well, you try and make sure people feel comfortable. So none of that sort of silly rules where you're like, you have to be professionally dressed before you come down for breakfast. Like, no, people can eat their breakfast in their PJs at the table. Like, I feel like you're a very chill homeowner, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the energy of your house. It's like, let's go barefoot and, you know, plant flowers in the garden and play charades and argue about it. Ooh, okay. So we have the Knight of Swords. This house is kind of everything you wanted, but I feel like you make that happen. Like, you're the instigator of that. You're the one who achieves that. It is so white horses have a lot of success and romance around it, so your house is very loving. There's a lot of love in the air. That can be between you and your partner. It can also just be like love in general for your children, your pets, and vice versa. So it's a very harmonious, balanced, loving home. But I do also think with white horses there's a strong element of like luck and success. So you get the home that you want. Whatever that home is that you're thinking of, because of this white horse, I know it's 100% something you dreamed of, but I do feel like because of the knight and the swords, obviously it's all about the mind and action and things like that, I feel like you are the one who creates it. So even though you're lucky in a sense to get the house you want, you got it because of you, because you put that effort in. So it's like something you should be proud of because you achieved it, you know? It's not something that happened to you, it's something that happened because of you. So okay, I am getting garden vibes as well, and I'm kind of getting, oh, okay, so I'm kind of getting like private land, private property, maybe there's farmland, maybe it's like the countryside, a lot of space, maybe it's that no one's kind of near you. You do have neighbours, but they're so far away that it's kind of like you don't really have neighbours. Like, it could be that as well, like you live somewhere quite isolated, because in the distance I'm just seeing pure countryside as well. So I do feel like it's somewhere in the countryside, not really in the busy sort of, you know, hustle and bustle at the city centre. So we had the Two of Swords in reverse as well. You are very, what's the word where you're quite like picky, I guess? Very decided, very picky about the kinds of people you let into your home. I think as well, if you have a family in that home, obviously you do have to be picky about who's coming in because you have to make sure they're safe and protected. But I do think you're very firm in whatever it is. So if you're like, yeah, I trust this person, I like this person, you can come on in. But when it's a no, it's a no. Like, ain't nobody coming in. If there's like a toxic in-law, or although I actually don't feel any family strife here, but if it's like someone quite toxic who tries to come in and guilt trip you and be like, you know, I should be able to see your kids and come to your house and whatever, I feel like you're just going to be like a firm no, you know? I'm not saying you will have someone like that, but if there ever is a person where you're like, yeah, no, they won't be coming in. Like, you're very, very decided on that. And I think you're quite strict about hosting as well. I think that's your one rule. If you've arranged for an event, sure, you'll host it. But if your partner has arranged to host an event, you're very strict about the fact that you are there as a guest too in that element, and they need to host, because you're not doing all the planning, the prep, the food, the decorations. Like, that's got to be up to them, because you're not out here doing no free labor. So I feel like you're also very, very decided about things. Like, you're like either a strong yes or strong no. You've got strong opinions, and you have every right to feel that way and be that way. So you might host, but I don't think it's like a regular like games night kind of thing, you know? Okay, then you have the Queen of Swords. You also have the Five of Swords as well. And then you had, the Eight of Swords. Then you have the High Priestess. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm getting two things. For some of you, I feel like this might be your forever home. But for some of you, you have to remember that first and foremost, before like a homeowner, a parent, you know, a partner, you're a person first and foremost. And I think if ever there comes a point where it's starting to feel like you're being taken advantage of or maybe not appreciated, kind of everyone's barking demands at you and making you do things, and you're kind of losing sight of who you are, you're being reminded to step into your power and remember that this is your home and that this is your life as well, and this is you, and you come first. Like, you don't have to be anybody's anything if they're going to disrespect you like that. You can just be you. And so I feel like there will be times where you forget to stand up for yourself, and then times where because of that you again feel empowered to do so, and you restore the harmony and balance into your life as well. But it could be that in the future, you know, I feel like this home might just become your home. But for the initial beginning, I think it will be a family home, but it might end up just being yours. But for others of you who that doesn't sort of resonate with, I feel like for you, you might sort of doubt that you will ever get this. Like, to you, it might be like a fantasy and you don't think that this is something you would ever have. And I think whoever you end up sharing this home with also feels the same way. Like, they feel like no matter how much work they put in, it's really hard to go about achieving this thing. Of course, right now, I mean, we're in like a housing crisis, but I feel like you both feel a little bit lost and stuck. But when you've got the High Priestess energy and the Queen of Swords energy, you know, this really intelligent energy, it makes me feel like you're both smart enough to sort of work around all of the, like the obstacles that are put in your way. And so you find workarounds to actually achieve this thing. You both might reach a point where you're feeling a little bit low, but I do think for the most part, because you're smart about how you're going to go about this, it actually will help you get there. So you might doubt it, but that doesn't mean it's not part of your future. You could also be inheriting this house as well. Same energy as pile 1 there. But that's something I was getting as well. We also have the Five of Pentacles, and we also have the Four of Swords. So I pulled those out in reference to when this is coming in for you and how many places will you live at before then. So I think this house will come in for you kind of at your lowest. I think when you're feeling quite vulnerable, dejected, feeling very like this just isn't going to happen, feeling quite down on your luck, feeling a little bit stuck in life, I think either that situation will somehow lead to you getting this home. So I think you will have several living situations before you get to this point, and it could be that you live in a flat, like a tower block, and then you start saving while you're living there, and then you put a deposit down, or maybe you inherit, as I said. So I think there will be several sort of steps before you get there. But with the Four of Swords, it is also making me feel like this will likely come in for you when you release your last resort or last card, if that makes sense. So, like, I don't know card terms, but is it like when you have a royal flush and it's like you put it down and you win the game, you know, like that? Like, I feel like you've got your cards close to your chest and you've actually got this little secret weapon that you don't really know about. You don't realize how much prosperity it's going to bring you until you yield it. So it's something you've been sitting on. So it could be like a book idea, it could be that like you've got an idea for a novel, it could be that you have an idea for like a business, it could be that you've got an idea for like a side hustle, something that's maybe you don't have a lot of faith in, but you give it a go. You're like, you know what, I'm at my lowest, you know, how much could this affect me now? And you do it. You actually have the confidence to do it, and when you do it, that can actually reap in a lot of benefits that lead to all of this. So I feel like you've got something up your sleeve that you haven't recognised that you have, and you haven't yielded yet, but when you do, it can actually really help in this situation. So it could be that you have like a book idea, and when you release it, you don't think it will be that popular, but then it becomes like the best-selling book, you know, of the year. So, and then it just kind of steamrolls from there. So that's kind of what I'm getting as well. but I feel like you won't have the confidence to kind of let it out until you reach that sort of lowest point, and then you're like, oh, what have I got to lose? So you're kind of being urged to just do it, because you might be thinking it's not going to be that successful, but it is. Okay, so you also have the Cayman and Poppy with dreams, and I was really strongly getting that this is a dream of yours, but also that with dreams there's an element of like, yes, this is something you really want, but it's also something where, like, with the moon energy as well, dreams come true for you. So it's like you wish upon a star and then it happens. So there's an element of like magic almost around you achieving this. There's an element of like wish fulfillment. But then we do have that productivity. So it's right back to this first energy that I sort of mentioned, where it's like, yeah, you're a dreamer and you're hopeful and you are kind of a manifester as well, but you're also incredibly proactive day to day to make it happen. You're very productive. But with bees, there's an extra 2 elements. Oh my god, the luck card was also wanting to come out. So the duck and chrysanthemums with luck. So yes, you're a very lucky person. That's why these dreams are coming true for you as well. And you had the white horse, didn't you? Which was luck as well. Wow. Okay. So this is happening for you because of your luck as well. But with bumblebees, or bees, there's actually 2 extra elements. So one of them is community. You kind of need the support of your community to help you. So that's kind of what I was getting with this card as well. It's like people kind of pull through and help you out once you ask for that help, because you can't really get anywhere without that. Like, I heard a story about these bees that were stuck in a cup of honey, and when these people took it out of the honey and put it in like a different cup to try and help it live, all these bees swarmed it and were like buzzing around it, getting all this honey off, and within a couple hours all 3 of the bees had been freed and they were able to fly again as opposed to dying. So it's like, that's also around you, that's an energy that's around you that will help you, and I think your home will have that energy of being that kind of community space, if that makes sense. But with bees, there's also another element of don't overburden yourself, don't burn out, because bees do too much to the point that they end up having to take naps in the flowers rather than return to their hive, because they're literally too tired to fly all the way back to their hive after collecting pollen. So they have to take a nap in a flower and then fly on later. So it's like, don't burn yourself out, don't be doing too much. Like, don't be like, let me work 24 hours a day to save as much as possible. No, like, don't be doing all that. Make sure you're resting and taking care of yourself as well. And then we also have the porcupine and anemone with boundaries. So that was kind of what I was getting over here. And here as well. In your home, you'll have really clear boundaries about, like, yes, this person can come in, no, this person can't. Yes, I can host, but only in these terms, and I'm not going to let anyone force hosting onto me. And then you're also going to set boundaries if people start kind of taking you for granted or treating you like, you know, you're like, I don't know, this, I guess, someone who isn't worth respect. You'll definitely stop doing whatever it was you were doing if they're not going to be respectful. You have unexpected events do happen in life. So things might take a turn in a way that you weren't expecting down the line. But then also, I think the way this house comes to you might be in a very unpredictable, strange way. A strange occurrence that you hadn't seen coming. It could be that because you're such a kind, generous person in your community, that kindness comes back to you in a strange way. Also, you're definitely a big dreamer, because again, we're getting that visualize your happy place. So you definitely have big dreams, big goals, and I think having that imagination is a part of your manifestation. Dreaming about what you want is actually helping to manifest it and helping you to sort of think about what you want. And it's also keeping you in that happy, positive space because it makes you hopeful. That's what imagination does. And then you also have never forget how wildly capable you are. Yes, do not doubt yourself, believe in your dreams, because you've got believe here as well. So believe in yourself. This is something that you can do and you can achieve, especially if you're the one creating it and building it up as well, like doing up the property, renovating. You have so much potential and ability to create the space and the life that you want. So don't doubt that, basically, is what we're getting here. Right at your lowest is when you pull out something unexpected that kind of saves the day. So Never forget that, never doubt yourself. Because the second you doubt yourself as well, you start believing lies people say about you and feeling trapped when there's no need to be trapped at all. There's this clear open space here. She could walk forward, but she's not seeing it because she doesn't believe in herself. So make sure you do, and you don't let yourself down in that way. But that was your reading pile 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye! Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. I made a little boo-boo, a little mistake. Okay, so for pile 2, they chose the ceramic ghost with the flowers. I accidentally used this. So I feel like that means you and pile 2 are kind of linked a little bit. So if you want to check out pile 2 after this, also do that. But anyways, so you have My Soul Speaks in Flowers, and you also chose the La Luna matches. So straight away from this, I would kind of say that you're quite a spiritual person, because obviously flowers are quite earthy, grounded, so I feel like you really like that kind of grounded, nature-esque kind of living style. So I feel like you're quite like a spiritual, connected person, and you also believe a lot in like manifestation, your dreams coming true, like the universe kind of helping you with that. And you definitely do have that energy kind of supporting you as well. Oh, I just realised this says 23 as well. So it could be like you're 23 by the time you get your home, or within the next 23 years, which can seem like a long time, but that doesn't mean you won't have a really good time in the interim living in other situations. But I also feel like when we get like little bouquets like this, I also see that as like gifts coming true, dreams coming true, particularly 2 gifts. So if there's 2 sort of dreams surrounding the ideal home that you have for yourself, those will likely be coming true, especially with support from like the universe as well. And I also think as well your house will be very florally, but also very grounding, down to earth. Even if there aren't areas where you can necessarily have a lot of nature, you will try and fit nature in in some kind of way. So we're going to be getting into all that stuff, but that was just the initial energy I'm kind of getting as well. I also think your home will be more dreamy-esque with lots of like glittery gold colors, and then like those dark like plum colors to offset that. So there will be like dark and light aspects of your house, so maybe like a green sofa, but then you've got like brown wood flooring and then like gold photo frames. Or it could be like you've got a pink sofa, a purple wall, and then loads of gold like mirrors and things like that. So those kind of clashing like dark and then light energies. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards for you and find out more about your future forever home. So okay, so we have the Queen of Wands. Yeah, you're definitely going to have pets for sure, and I feel like because black cat imagery is just so strong, you will likely have black cats. You also have the 8 of Pentacles. I also feel like your house will challenge society norms in some kind of way, social norms. You're going to be quite authentic and a little bit alternative as well, maybe a little bit goth with your kind of house decor as well, or maybe clashing, like sort of cutesy, sunflowery, and then also goth, like if that makes sense. So 2 kind of clashing sort of energies. You're going to be more authentic and just do what you love and enjoy when it comes to your house and decorate it how you want. You're also going to work really, really hard for it. That hard work will pay off, but it's like you do have to put a lot of effort in order to achieve the type of house that you're looking for. I feel like your house is going to feel like a little bit like a pet sanctuary almost. The King of Cups. Oh, the energy around your house is loving. When people come into your home, when you go into your home, you feel loved, supported. It just puts you emotionally at ease, as well as your guests, as well as your pets. It's a very peaceful, loving home. Lots of emotional tranquility is the sort of energy that's popping into my head. That is how it will make you feel. Very tranquil. Ooh, we have the Chariot. I love that one. I think we got that for pile 1 as well. I feel like you might be quite quick to change your mind about features in your house. You've also had lion imagery like several times. So you might have some sort of, and there's also lots of wings as well. So you might have lots of like animal statues, animal-esque. Like, you know, some people outside of their house, they have like little lion heads either side of like their gate entrance. Like, it's giving that energy, or like a lion head knocker on the door. Like, you've got kind of strange, unusual, maybe even gaudy, arguably, decorations in your house as well. I think your house makes you feel really powerful and really empowered, and like that is a space for you, because I feel like you're someone who doesn't often feel like spaces are for you or designed for you, but this one is. This space is like an all-inclusive, like, you know, everybody's welcome kind of house. A very nice house. Yeah, and I think I'm definitely getting that again just because you do have the Wheel of Fortune, which there's lots of animal imagery, especially that lion again. So it makes me feel like you will have a lot of pets. Your house will be a pet house for sure. I also think your house is going to be a little bit petite, a little bit little, a little bit cutesy. But not too small. But I am also, same as everybody else, I am getting more of a isolated house, because this person is here working really hard on something, and off in the distance is like the town and the city. So I feel like you're not in the city, you're more in the countryside, and you're kind of away from all the noise and the crowds and the hustle and bustle. But I feel like you're not too far. Like, you're within traveling distance from fun activities and going into the city and visiting friends and family. But that being said, you do also have this almost faraway sanctuary away from everybody else, which can be quite nice, quite like refreshing. Yeah, I don't know though, because I feel like, okay, so I feel like you might be a bit of an outcast socially, because that's how I'm seeing it. It's like that's the city, and then this is also the city, and this is you kind of being pulled out of it. So I don't feel like you felt like you fit in before, so you kind of had to go and make your own beautiful space for you to be sort of feeling included a little bit. And because of that, you kind of guard and protect your resources a bit, so you are a little bit protective over your home. So I think it's very wishy-washy whether or not you will have guests and hosts. I think it really depends on the person, how well you know them, and if you're in the mood to host as well. Because I think you could be open to it, but I think you're more of a one guest at a time type of person. You don't want too many people that you have to keep an eye on and like watch everybody and, you know, make sure everything's okay, no one's breaking a vase in like the back room or something. Like, I feel like you're more comfortable with just like one, maybe two guests at a time if you do have guests. But you're very protective over your things. I feel like as well you may have felt hostage in a lot of living situations, but in your home you actually feel like there's not that anymore, which is why I think we've got the Hermit here, because it's like you kind of want, sorry, there's like cat hair everywhere. you kind of like your peace, and you like being on your own and not, you know, kind of coming out of your shell. You like being in your shell very much. I think it feels safe and protective. So I think this home does a really good job of making you feel like you've got a space that's for you, where you can grow and learn and develop within that space, you know, build on your intelligence, reading books in your home, like that kind of safe space. Even though you're away from the city, and I said you might be on the countryside, for some of you, I feel like you will be in your own, like, little isolated house on the ground. But for others of you, I was also kind of getting apartment or flat kind of energy. No balcony, no garden, but somewhere high up. So that is also why I might be getting more of like an isolated feeling, is because you don't necessarily, it's not the same sense of like going and saying hi to your neighbours every day and everybody knows everybody. It's a little bit more secluded in those kinds of situations, because you can have lots of different like classes in the same apartment building or flat or block, which can then create a lot of like tension. So like no one really wants to talk to the other because they're not trusting of like the other group. But I kind of feel like you might be in like a flat or a tower, some of you. Yeah, we got the death card for what it will look like, so I'm getting a goth energy. I am getting like a a gothic, but then also that kind of dual nature energy as well, with like the little sunflower and then the black kitty cat. So I feel like you've also got kind of a regal renaissance-y vibe as well going on. Like, I feel like there's a lot of attention to detail to the small finishings of the house, like the little like casings around the light switches or the hinges on the doors. Like, they've got these little intricate designs because you care about those like little details. So that's kind of what I feel like it looks like. It looks like you've put a lot of effort into it, and there is a lot of like gold going on as well. But then it will be like a gold photo frame around something creepy, like a photo of like, I don't know, this. So I feel like it's that kind of energy. Ooh, the Knight of Cups. For who will you be sharing this with? So you will probably share this space with a partner, because the Knight of Cups is about that. It's very likely you will share it with a partner, or when you do have partners, obviously you welcome them to kind of come and stay with you while you're dating, obviously. But if you date somebody else, then obviously you're no longer going to extend that invitation to that one, but then you'll give it to the next one. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like you're quite generous in that sense. Yeah, we got the Lovers again. So definitely this house, a loving house. This house for you and your side bitches, or your main bitches, whichever you like to have. Six of Cups, potentially babies in this house. Potentially it will become a family home down the line. Potentially. And it will be a very grounding space, a grounding home, where there's lots of things to do that aren't necessarily digitally focused. So it might be that you have like lots of plant pots that, you know, your kids can get into, or like maybe like you have books or tarot cards, things that they can just kind of pull apart and look at. Yeah, I think maybe down the line you might have a bigger, more isolated house, but I am feeling it could be either or, like more of a tower block apartment, or more of like a away in the countryside kind of vibe. I'm getting both. So for some of you, that will be one of those will be true, and for others, the other one will be true. Also, there might, for some of you, if babies don't resonate with you, it might just be that your decor is a little bit like juvenile in a sense, like a little bit kiddie. So you might have like lots of pastels coloured furniture in one room, and lots of like silly quirky little like ornaments, like a really big pencil as like your lamp or something, like strange things like that, or a burger telephone or something. So it could be for some of you your decor is a little bit like immature as well. Not saying that in a bad way or a judgmental way, I'm just saying that might be how your decor is. And there might be lots of things left over from your childhood, like blankets and teddies and, you know, little things like that. Yeah, I don't think you host often. I think you like it to be a space for you and your pets. Ooh. Okay. So you have the Five of Wands and the Three of Wands for, you know, when this is coming in for you, and how many places or years you might, you know, go through before you get to this point. So I actually don't think you're far off from this with the Three of Wands. I think there's a lot of effort required to get there, but that doesn't mean it's going to be long necessarily. And then also, I think you will have living situations before, like, that aren't this one, before you actually get here. And I think it will be roommate situations, a lot of like flat shares, house shares, and there will be confrontation and fighting, but there will also be friendships that you make out of it as well. See, these two people are here and then these three people are here. Like, you will find people in these situations that you get along well with, and others where you're like, yeah, we're probably not going to stay in touch after this. So I do think that. I also think when I see that card, it could be 3 to 5 years before you get this living situation, this like more positive one behind these cards. So it could be 3 to 5 years. That could be why we had the 2 and the 3. It could be 2, 3, or 5, because add 2 and 3 together is 5. So either 2, 3, or 5 years, depending on the Wheel of Fate, because obviously it takes one action to get this Wheel of Fate turning. So once you've got the ball rolling, things will just start to happen for you effortlessly. But where that will stops depends on everything that happens during those time periods. So if in 2 years you're still not ready, you still don't have like a deposit or what you're looking for, you haven't applied for housing yet, or you haven't received any feedback about your application, then it might be 3 years and it might be 5. So I'd say 2 to 3 to 5 years maximum before you kind of get this dream house. And I do think you'll probably be in a few living situations before you get there as well. Some constructive to your well-being and some not, but you will make solid friendships and friend groups out of this. Okay. Ooh, the salamander and black pepper with inspiration. The duck and chrysanthemum with luck. That one. And the quail and gooseberry with anticipation. You cannot wait to get this house. I'm telling you, it's going to be such a nice space for you. You're going to feel so privileged to have it, to finally have your own space that you can be who you want to be in, and you can decorate it how you want to decorate it and have your pets there. Like, you're just going to love it so much, and you're going to feel so lucky when you get it. And I think you're counting down the days and the seconds to get there, you know. I think you're also someone who will source a lot of inspiration by like surfing on like Pinterest and stuff like that, trying to see house inspo for how you want your house to be and kind of manifest in that way. Like maybe creating a pin board where you're like, this is how I want my sitting room to look, this is how I want my bedroom to look, thinking about all the decor, and that can also help with like manifestation. And then also you'll be saving a lot for it. I see you putting in a lot of effort, and you've also got the strength and the resilience during the interim until you get there, because the salamander can withstand a lot of heat, and that's also what we get with black pepper as well. They both can withstand a lot of heat. So I think for you, it's that you'll be able to kind of put up with all this time waiting and all of these living situations. If they're not enjoyable, you can endure it because you're like, I know I'm going to get what I want, and you're putting in the effort and you're just like looking forward to it, and that kind of keeps you going. Okay, so we have helping someone in need is soul work. We have soul again. That's really interesting. So I feel like your kindness is a part of your soul's purpose, and that kindness can actually lead to you getting there faster, because with community and with support you can achieve your goals better. It could also be that one day you're just like casually helping someone out with something, and that's good for your soul, and you had no intentions for it to go anywhere, but then it ends up becoming like a lover situation, and then you guys end up getting a house together. Like, it could be that. Although I do feel like this is your house and they just kind of move in. I don't necessarily feel like you're getting it with somebody, but potentially, because, you know, we do have that card there. Then we have give thanks for a wonderful day. So I think I do just get a really strong energy, especially with all these Polaroids and there's 2 friends here. I get such a strong energy that along this journey to your dream house, to your future forever home, you're making a lot of friends. I really feel that way. Oh my god, and we have friends and soul here as well. So we've got soul 3 times, and it's about kindness, community, friendship. We've got love down here. So these connections are the key stepping stones to you achieving this, because I feel like you needed this. Like, you needed this community and these friends and all of these interactions and experiences to come in for you before you got your home and kind of stepped into a little bit of an isolating period, because you need to have that social life so that you're able to have a good balance when you do finally get that home, and have balance between being a bit of a hermit and then also being more of a socialite as well. So I feel like that's why it's really important for you to go on this journey, you know, the 2 to 3 to 5 years, because it's important in building really solid connections for you as well. Okay, so that was your reading pole 3. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading on Teen Tarot. Bye. Okay, hello pile 4, welcome to your reading. So you have Grow Your Own Way, which I love. You also chose Kit's Little Footprint. So you're you made the best choice. I'm just saying. Anyone who didn't pick her foot is just go ahead and unsubscribe. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I feel like your home, straight away, the energy is that it's a very sentimental place. It's going to be full of so many, like, mementos. So it's like you might go on holiday, and then when you're on holiday, you, I don't know, buy a pen. And then that pen is like an ornament on your shelf. It's going to be full of these miscellaneous items that to other people seemingly have no purpose, or they're like, oh, let me throw out this pen, it's empty and doesn't work. And you're like, no, that's like the special pen. And they're like, oh, I had no idea, my bad, putting it back. And it's like, it seems like it doesn't belong there, but it actually does, because they actually hold like memories to you. And I think your home, for that reason, is going to be really unique, especially because we've got grow your own way. I also think you're going to be like independent in a sense. Like, I feel like you're getting this home away from your family, like you're flying the nest. You're like, let me grow my own way and become my own person and be who I am. And I think you're going to have a very unique home as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the tarot cards for you. Ooh, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Ooh, okay, so this is interesting. So I feel like you'll be starting from scratch. Like, when you flee the nest, flee whatever, like, you may have already done so, but whatever home you started off in, like your parents' home or your guardian's home or your aunt's home or your grandparents' home, or care, or wherever you were initially for like the early stages of your life, when you go, you're going to be kind of making it on your own. You're going to be figuring it all out by yourself and kind of designing your own future, creating it yourself, creating your own money to get there as well. So it's all down to you. I feel like you're a very independent person when it comes to going after what you want in your home. You also have the Seven of Cups, so I feel like your home is very dreamy, and it almost feels a little bit like trippy in a sense, because it's like you might have really like dreamy special features that kind of make it feel like someone's in a fantasy land. So it could be that you literally have kind of fantasy themed rooms, but you could also have more dreamy, furniture, so things like sheer curtains, and then like maybe LED lights around the curtains to create like a hue of light that's always coming out of them. Or like you might have, how people put like the clouds on their ceiling and then put LED lights in them. Or you could have lots of star moon imagery like all around as well. There's just something very dreamy and fantastical about your home for some reason. You also have the Six of Wands. You may also have a bit of like a hippie vibe to your home as well. It's also like a secondary element that I'm kind of getting there. But when we have like a white horse like this is like luck, success, loads of romantic love. So there's a lot of love in your home. That is the primary energy of it. It could be that you share this home with a partner, or just in general, you might just be a very loving, kind person. So you're creating a lot of loving energy in that space. So that's how you feel when you're there. You feel very loved, and like this is where you were meant to be. You also feel very lucky for what you achieve and you accomplish, because you feel like it's your, whatever the house you create, it's kind of your dream come true. So you feel like you've kind of hit the jackpot in a sense. No matter whether this is a small house, a big one, whether it's like a flat, a block, a tower, a house independent of its own or semi-detached, whatever the size, it doesn't matter to you. It feels like you've hit the jackpot because it's yours, and it's special to you. Because you can see value in things that other people can't. Like, to other people, it's just a piece of clay. But to me, it's the most valuable thing I have. So it's like, no matter what your house looks like or has in it, you feel like it is an incredibly valuable space. You also have the Four of Pentacles here. You're kind of money savvy because you save it for the important things. So I don't necessarily know if like for you, the important things might be creating memories, going on travels, as I sort of mentioned in the beginning, going on holiday and then taking those mementos and things like that. So it could be that you like to save your money for like big adventures and actually traveling, sightseeing, going on holidays, things like that, days out, day trips, going to nice restaurants. So your house might reflect that in the sense that it might be a little bit bare, but again, it has these kind of items, these miscellaneous items, but in general, it's quite a bare house. But it makes you feel very lavish and rich to just own that space, because it's pretty impressive to like own your own home, and it's, you know, it takes a lot of money in and of itself regardless of how it's decorated, so it still feels very valuable to you and you feel very accomplished with it. And you might also, your home might be your moneymaker in a sense. So it could be that you have a work from home job, or you do your own business from home, or your home is your business in the sense that you might be renovating it and then filming that and posting it somewhere and kind of getting money for that. But it feels like your home might be tied into your finances as well. Okay, so we have Temperance here, which is just such a pretty card. So I definitely feel like your home's very, very peaceful and very balanced as well. So if it's a small home, there's lots of windows to create a lot of lighting and space. And if it's a very big home, there's, you know, a lot of lamps and lighting on the inside rather than windows to help it kind of feel a little bit more warm. Yeah, this is definitely a really, really positive space. I do think you will likely host a lot of events just because with the World card and the Ace of Cups, you have a lot of love to provide in the sense that your home's a very peaceful place, and you might be the only one of your friend group to even own a home, or, you know, because with the World card, you're at the kind of end, you're at that success point. So you might host a lot because your house is kind of the only house people can really have a hosted event at. And I think you host quite regularly and you always think of like new creative ways to do it, and it's always something like game night or, you know, fun things like that. So we have the 10 of Pentacles here. So some of you might have pets in your house. The only reason I'm saying that is because we do have a few animal imageries here. So we've got like this bull, eagle, a lion, then we've got this bird in the background here, we've got this dragon thing, we've got this horse, and then we have a dog. So you might have pets in your home. On top of that, I think it might take a lot of work and effort, especially monetarily, for you to get to this point. But I could see you getting a house with this dream house, within the next 10 years, maybe 10 months. But I'm seeing more 10 years. So I think within a decade. And I think you have a strong sense of community around you. Yeah, we've got that white horse again. So luck, success, love, prosperity. You've got a lot of community around you. You still achieve this all on your own, but obviously community support definitely does help you persevere. So I think you're still quite close to society. I think you're still quite like in the city rather than in the countryside. Yeah, we have the Hanged Man. I think you'll be waiting a while before you actually get this dream home of yours. I also think you'll be quite high up because we've got lots of wing imagery. So I actually think you will be in an apartment building somewhere quite high up rather than like a house. I feel like this is definitely more apartment vibes. It's going to be very minimalist with lots of like sort of like terracotta colours, if that makes sense. Like these kind of colours. Like I'm seeing a lot of those tan kind of colours, maybe oranges as well. And quite a few houseplants as well, a lot of succulents. Potentially a balcony. I am seeing balcony as well. Lots of really nice like decor in your house. Like I think like the curtains and the sheets are just seamlessly matched, and like that creates like a nice like clean like cozy atmosphere almost. You've got just the right amount of lighting, lamps, things like that. There's definitely a dreamy-esque vibe to your house as well. I think your house is a safe haven for a lot of people with this white horse as well. But I think you can get a bit bored there because there's not much to do, because as I said, you invest your money in activities. So I feel like you're someone who feels bored at home but enjoys going out a lot. Your home is more so the place where you come and sleep, like have dinner, you know, take care of yourself. But for the most part, I feel like you're out and about. I feel like you're more of a extrovert in that sense. Oh, we have the Knight of Cups. I think in the interim, you'll probably be living with a partner before you achieve this. You might live with partners and share sort of. So let's say if you have several partners until this point, You might move in with each one every single time, or it might be the same partner the whole way through and you live with them the whole time. So I think you'll kind of be sharing a living space with them until you get to this point, and I do feel like it will be their house, their name on the deed, their responsibility, but you're just kind of like moving in, and then this is yours when you finally get it. When you move out from that space, you'll be creating your own kind of sanctuary, potentially with them as well, but something that has your name on it too, you know? So it could be several homes that you sort of move into before you get this, but I'm kind of just seeing one. So it could be one home that you're sharing with like a partner for like 10 years or so, and then moving into yours, but it could be a few partners as well. Okay, so let's get any last messages for you. No, it's not those. I wasn't feeling those. Okay, so you have the quail and gooseberry with anticipation. You cannot wait until you get this place. And I feel like that bird really matches the kind of aesthetic I'm seeing in your home as well. You might have a few pets because you do have a lot of like pet imagery, but you might have birds as a pet. Or a singular bird. Then you have the trout and lily of the valley with purification, and you also have the duck and chrysanthemum with luck. Yes, you feel very lucky when you get this house, as I said, you know, with all those white horse imageries. You feel like this is a dream come true for you. No matter what it looks like, you're just so appreciative that you have it. Purification, this is a really nice space for you to be in. Your house isn't somewhere where you feel afraid or uncomfortable. It is definitely your safe space that makes you feel like you can de-stress and recharge your battery before going back out into the world and going on those adventures. It's a nice stopping point in all your travels to kind of relax and regain that kind of clarity again. So yeah, we also have you embody growth and transformation. Yeah, along this journey towards your house, I feel like it's gonna be a really nice, comfortable where it stays the same basically. Like a nice what's the word? Where it's not too tumultuous, basically. It's a nice, steady kind of life that you live until you achieve this accomplishment. You're going to be constantly growing and just turning into the best version of yourself, probably because of all these experiences that you've got the right idea, sort of investing your time into connections and travels and building those memories. And so even though people might think you're like different for, you know, saving that pen and holding on to it because it has important value to you, that's something that makes you happy, and that's the best way to be. So even though it takes a lot of courage to be different is exactly what helps to make you into the person that you need to be. Yes, you'll definitely be hosting a lot. I'm seeing that. So you'll probably also incorporate like a lot of food when you host because of this, so I feel like you'll have everybody covered. You might even make the dishes yourself rather than ordering takeaway. I feel like you're a very go with the flow kind of person. So when it says like growing your own way, you take things all in your stride. So you almost create like a steady, balanced way forward for yourself because you take the good with the bad and you don't really like get knocked off of your path because of those, and you also don't get like too big-headed and start biting off more than you can chew. So basically, essentially that means like start spending without your means. You're not like that type of person. You will save until you're ready, and then you will know how to delegate those savings where possible so that you can achieve this dream as well. So that was your reading pile 4. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you felt drawn to any other piles, please feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Fridays for another reading or tarot related video on TìandTarot. Bye!